Welcome to the Classes Permanent Podcast. Today is Friday, May 22nd, and we have an episode of the podcast here ahead of you. Some big news. Southampton has been removed from the championship playoff. Portugal has a squad released. England, a bunch of leaks. We'll do a Can I Get a Lineup? We will recap the Europa League final. We'll talk about the preview of the relegation battle in the Premier League, La Liga.
You forgot something.
And away we
Champions!
go.
Classes permanent! Hey, 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 hey. Form is temporary! Hey, 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 hey. Form is temporary!
Alrighty. It's just a two-man crew today. I'm here with my colleague and coworker, Daniel Capucci.
There's another chief you forgot there. Champion. I believe that's what you meant to say.
Here, let me do something for
Let
you.
it all work out. Do. Let it all work out. Do. Thank you. Well deserved. Yeah, I know. Well deserved. Let it all work out.
I guess that was news. Arsenal have officially won the
champion.
Arsenal have officially won the Premier
Victor
League.
Gyökeres, champion.
That's once again just very shameless
Bukayo
from the Arsenal
Saka,
fans.
Champion.
Very, very shameless from Arsenal fans in general.
Declan
but
Rice.
it is
champion.
what it is. I'll give Pooch just 2 minutes. I'm going to mute myself and give Pooch 2 minutes.
Martin Zubamendi, champion. Noni Madueke, champion. Gabriel Martinelli, almost bottled it, champion.
All right, I've had enough of this segment.
Max Dowman, 16 years old. He had a 40 time faster than me. Champion.
What about 12 inches? What about 8 inches in thick? My wife, 12 years faithful. Offed yourself. Congratulations, Pooch. I will say it. It
Thank
isn't
you.
in the first year of the podcast. We are both league title winners.
I know.
So that's good. I guess we could just keep going. We're 100% right now.
London is also red. I don't know if you saw the party at the Emirates.
No, I didn't. We had a similar party last year for Europa League, but no problem.
Oh, okay. Did you guys have just 100,000 people just miraculously show up at the same time outside your stadium right after the win?
You think you had 100,000 people show up?
That's the reports out of the BBC, the Times, the Standard.
How many people
Yeah, go ahead, Google.
celebrated Spurs, Europa, how do you spell that? League win. 150,000 people. Literally the New York Times. An estimated 150,000, 225,000 flooded
That's
the
great.
streets.
But the club set that whole thing up. That was like a whole like parade and everything. It wasn't just spur of the moment. 100,000 people showing up, was it?
This was, I guess, the parade. How would I look up
Listen,
what you're discussing?
It's okay. It's fine. You know, at least Romero's going to be there this weekend to make sure
To
you
be
guys get to make sure you guys stay up, and he definitely is not back in Argentina. Yeah, at least you guys won the Prem. You've done that in the last 30, 40 years, right? You've won the Prem.
We've won the Europa League. Can you put your Europa League on the table?
Okay. You can't even say table right. You're so flustered.
I'm not flustered. I'm just
I'm
I'm just letting you enjoy
mentality.
it. I'm letting
Talking
you
about
enjoy
the
it.
second
I'm letting
tier
you
of the
enjoy it.
European
I'm letting you enjoy
Cup.
it. I'm being
all
fair.
work out.
I'm letting you enjoy it. You're very shameless. I've told you in other chats, one day you're going to have to answer to God about the crimes you guys have committed, but you're shameless.
Ethan, I just want you to know, I hope you guys don't bottle it Sunday. That'd be a shame if you guys bottled relegation. Oh, wait, relegation. Not even a championship, relegation battle? You guys may bottle it? Ooh. Yikes. Don't bottle it. Watch out for the bottle.
Anyway.
You and City, one and the same, both bottlers.
Can't call City bottlers, to be fair.
They bottled this. They had it in their hand.
Were they in first?
They had it in, they beat us.
Were they in first?
Remember they beat us, and then everybody was like, City's gonna win. The supercomputer. Computer, make City dumb. Computer, make City lose 2 points to Bournemouth and Everton, so they bottle it. Computer, Make that fat bald guy turn into a bottle himself, and as they posted on his Instagram.
Shameless.
Bottlers.
This reaction is
Bottle,
honestly
bottle,
one of
bottle,
the
bottle,
saddest
bottle.
reactions I've ever
Just
seen.
be careful. Just don't bottle it Sunday.
This is
Just
one of
don't
the
bottle it
saddest
Sunday.
reactions.
Don't bottle it Sunday, Ethan.
We're good.
Don't bottle relegation.
I'm good on that side. I'm not worried.
Don't bottle relegation. Don't bottle relegation, brother.
I'd prefer not to bottle relegation, but we're good on this
Oh,
side.
okay. You prefer not to. Okay, cool.
Yeah, transparently, I'm just going to be nice to you because this is the first time you guys have won something during our lives that you remember.
Yep. That's not an FA Cup.
Yeah, well, also, you typically do front run with a lot of different things. So, Patriots fan, you support zero locals. Everything
That's not
you do
true
is
at all.
What local team do you support?
I support the Lakewood Blue Claws.
Interesting. Okay. I bet. Or how many championships have the Lakewood Blue Claws won? Blue Claws
3.5. Dude, you are so flustered. You're nervous about that bottle Sunday.
Transparently, I have one eye on the Knicks game right now. Knicks are taking on Cavs game 2.
I'm a Knicks fan too.
No, you're not. No.
I'm a Knicks fan. Knicks tape. Do you got a Jalen Brunson shirt?
Wait. Hold up. Real quick. The Blue Claws have $2 Tuesday here. How many $2 Tuesdays have you been to?
As a kid, every single one.
Blue Claws, what was their result on Wednesday?
5-1 loss.
3-2 loss. Okay. Anyway, congratulations to Pooch and Arsenal. They held it through. I will say it is definitely shameless, some of the celebrations, and it can't feel good when the whole world is anti you winning. But as a Barca fan, I can never feel that. We win the league and everyone thinks it's ethical.
Wrong.
Anyway,
wrong.
Let's get into the news. We'll start here. So the Southampton Spygate. So I guess, what would you say? The judgment's officially come down. So they've been removed from the championship playoff. So what's the latest on this? Or is it Middlesbrough versus Hull? Is that correct? Or did I get that wrong?
See, I don't know. I think what we'll do is Timber, I think, will actually play in the Champions League final.
Oh my God.
And I do think we may just go straight 4-3-3 and Declan might play the 6. I'm just kidding.
Luis Enrique is going to save us. Luis Enrique is going to save football again.
Get it in that game. No,
that was funny. That was really good.
So Southampton, they get 4 points deducted next year. Middlesbrough's playing, but now Hull City is filing a suit of their own in case they lose, saying, why do we have to play Middlesbrough considering like they lost? They technically, like, we should just get promoted automatically. So now that's going on in the background too. Southampton is also talking about potentially firing the manager or suspending the manager because everything came down upon them. So the championship playoff is kind of screwed up. I think the most ethical hoops thing for them to do is literally just say, Hull City, you guys are up. You guys are going up. Like,
yeah, as I think about it, I don't know. I feel like that probably is the best thing, but I also get like giving Middlesbrough a chance.
Yeah, realistically, Hull City, they beat Derby's record of the least amount of points in a Premier League season if they go up. Their team is so bad, they're going to lose to Middlesbrough. There's like out of 10 shots at it, they win twice. Like they just don't have the team to do it.
So shouldn't we want Middlesbrough to come up though? Like, do you really need a team that's that bad in the Prem next year?
Exactly, but I'm saying the most ethical hoops thing to do would be Hull City gets promoted.
Yeah, but is that really ethical though? Because like Middlesbrough literally got cheated against, right? Like that's not their loss. You can't really blame them for.
But like they lost in extra time. It's not like they lost on like a set piece or something. Like Southampton had 90 minutes to score a goal with all that cheating, and they couldn't figure it out. And then they had to do it in extra time.
Yeah, but the argument can be flipped on you there. Because it could also be, imagine if they didn't cheat, that we could have just won in regular time.
It could potentially, but like at the same time, you opened up this can of worms now. If you're the championship, where now like a team like Wrexham, who lost out on the final day, could sit there and be like, well, in the 2 games that we played Southampton, they were looking at us. Like they were recording us too. So we should get 6 points off that. And then it's like, well, like at that point, every single team would be getting 6 extra points. Like, and then everything's screwed up. I think the most ethical hoops thing to do would just be promote Hull City. Have them get. I think, like you said, the best thing for the league in general would be Middlesbrough wins, Hull City lose that like suit if they decide to sue, and Middlesbrough is just in the league because they're a good enough side to potentially try and stave off relegation.
Yeah, it's so tricky. It's one of those things that almost gets frustrating because obviously justice is being served, but you're almost like, I just wish justice wasn't served. You know what I mean?
I'm actually, I mean, we talked about my views on Southampton. I don't like them being a yo-yo club.
Yeah.
So I hope this stops the yo-yo and they're just yo. They're froyo. They're frozen in the championship.
Wait, I got a question about froyo next. Go on, unless you're done.
There's too many.
Too many what?
Froyo places.
So the other day, funny enough, I was actually watching the Knicks game. I guess this was Tuesday night. Yeah, Tuesday night. I was sitting there.
What else happened Tuesday?
Wanted a sweet treat, and I was like, you know what? I don't really want ice cream. Kind of in the mood for froyo. Only problem is no one else in the house wanted froyo. So I'm like, fellas, is it weird to get froyo by yourself? Like walking?
No, not at all.
And like get toppings on it? That's not weird. I stopped myself. I thought it was a little sauce for me to go, so I stopped myself.
If a brother's craving some froyo, a brother needs to get himself some froyo.
It's not so much about the froyo. It's more so like if you go with someone else, it's like, oh, whatever. Like they wanted it more. And like, but like I'm the type of guy, like I'm going to have to walk in there, ask for some type of like mixture. You know, you got to swirl it. And I'm going to be like, can you throw some like sour gummy worms on there? And the guy's just going to see me, a grown man, by myself getting froyo on a Tuesday night.
So I think the act of getting froyo by itself is fine. But if you're telling another grown man, can I get some sour gummy worms?
That's what I'm saying.
That's where I draw the line.
But like that was my worry. My bigger worry is like if I see someone I know and I'm only getting it for myself. No one else wants it. If it's one thing, I just go to the store by myself and I grab two. So then I was
can I offer maybe a fix to that?
Yeah.
Maybe as you're in line, act like somebody's texting you and order two. So be like, can I get a medium with this mixture,
right?
And then hold on, let me look. A small of the same thing, and then just be like, yeah, on the medium, can I get like just plain nothing? And then on the small, can I get sour gummy worms, sprinkles, Skittles? And then what you do is when you get home, you put it all into one bowl.
Yeah,
mix it. I think that's the way you do it.
That's probably the better idea. I wasn't that creative. Instead, there's a local business that does kind of like acai bowls. And now you'd be like, well, isn't that just as sus? But my dad wanted a smoothie. So that was a little less sus, me walking in there getting myself an acai bowl. Probably better on the gut, too.
I think froyo's good by yourself. You just have to either go in with full confidence, being like, I want the sour gummy worms, the sprinkles, XYZ toppings, or you have to act like you're getting something for someone else too.
So bad. I literally, don't ask me why. I'm usually someone who's pretty shameless about things, similar to Pooch. Like I usually would just go somewhere and just order something. I don't care how it looks, right? Like I legitimately psyched myself out. I was sitting on the couch and I was like, I can't go get froyo by myself. No one's ever said that to me. No one's ever been like, froyo's like soft, or like, oh, well, it is soft, but like no one's ever been like, oh, don't get froyo by yourself, it's weird. Totally psyched myself out. But you brought up froyo, so I thought it was important for us to talk about that. Moving on, Portugal squad has officially released, so we put our own 11 out. Any surprises here?
I'm surprised about the balls on Krupi Jr.
Yes,
because it's not like Portugal's some like throwaway country where they're just going to go to the World Cup, they're going to get grouped and then go home, and this might be their only World Cup. They're like a legitimate contender. They have one of the best young kind of midfields. And he basically said, nah, I'm going to hold my chain to this French team. Like, I'll make it one day. And I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah, it's definitely, like you said, it's kind of weird because like he'd probably be the starting 9.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we talked about in
presumably. But looking at some of the names that got snubbed, right? Like Antonio Silva got snubbed, the Benfica defender.
But we also said like he
didn't have a good year
this year. Yeah.
Palhinha gets snubbed, which is fine, except he's played in almost all their stuff. So it was kind of one of those guys that you assumed would play. West Ham's Fernandez, which that I thought was a big snub. Yeah, he's been really good in a bad team.
Mm-hmm.
And then Porto, the young player they have, Rodrigo Mora.
Yeah,
I wasn't
that
too
was the
surprised.
only other name. I was surprised too because their midfield is loaded,
Mm-hmm.
but I would have liked to watch him at the World Cup.
Yeah, for sure. At least off the bench. Talking real quick, and it's just funny because someone sent me something regarding the Brazil team. We kept talking about João Pedro, but here's some of the names that like also got snubbed. Give me 1 second here. I just had it. So we obviously talked about João Pedro.
Also, real quick,
yeah.
did this guy Samu make it for Portugal? Or am I just looking at an old roster?
Samu?
Yeah.
There's
I think
Samu.
I'm just...
Yeah, probably looking at, I don't know. I'm not looking at the Portuguese one.
Okay, he plays for Mallorca, so that's why I was like...
No
whoa.
idea.
Yeah, okay.
Give me 1 second. I'll cut if I have to here.
I mean, Goncalo Guedes made it, and I'm not a fan of his. I think he's a really poor player.
What's funny is I've watched him for Sociedad this season. He's actually played decently, but I typically hold the same opinion.
Yeah. I also think it's crazy that Messi's aura developed guys like Julian Alvarez, Nico Paz. Who else is a good attacker for Argentina? I don't know. It just feels like Argentina's Thiago Almada. Like it feels like Argentina has a bunch of young, talented attackers. And then you look at Portugal, and it's like, what was Ronaldo's influence on this Portuguese team? Like
none.
Guedes, Leao, Pedro Neto, Goncalo Ramos. Like that's as far as you need to look to go, okay, that's how I know who the GOAT was.
Yeah.
Because one is going to be holding Rafael Leao and João Felix as their starting front through, and then the other one is going to have like Nico Paz and Julian Alvarez as their partners up there. And it's like, yeah, okay. Lautaro Martinez, forgot about him. Like that's another one.
Yeah, looking real quick just at the Brazil snub, this is what I was trying to get to. So you have some injuries, right? So like Estevao couldn't play, Rodrigo couldn't play. But some of the snubs, Ederson from Atalanta, who I thought was very good. A big surprise for me now that we think about it is Thiago Silva. He kind of came back to Europe to try and get in the World Cup team and didn't. I get why they snubbed him. Vanderson, Joelinton from Newcastle, who I think Joelinton sucks at ball. I think he's god awful. But I'm also like, I wouldn't be surprised like if he's like a manager's favorite type of player because he just does dirty work in a midfield.
Yeah, he's like a Jordan Henderson.
Right, but probably does even like works even harder. Yeah. You know what I mean? Richarlison, that's a huge snub. But yeah, no, looking at it. And with that being said, so England has not actually released their lineups, but we've gotten a ton of, I don't know if you call them leaks or I guess Tuchel. Leaks. Yeah, Tuchel must have been making phone calls telling people like you made the team or not before they drop the before they officially post it. And I guess the players just were like, all right, well, if I know, everyone should know. Here are the names that didn't make it. Harry Maguire. Help me out here. There was another center back who didn't make it.
Lewis Hall didn't make it.
Lewis Hall didn't make it at left wing.
Back. Luke Shaw, are you thinking of?
No, but he should not make it. England snubs.
Luke Shaw's had a decent year.
I know, but come on. Oh, you know what? Here's some of the names that didn't make it. Harry Maguire, Cole Palmer,
Adam Morton,
Jared Bowen, which Jared Bowen's one of those names you're probably like, yeah, well, he's kind of ass, but it's like, he probably would have been useful. Phil Foden. Did I say Foden?
Nope.
Phil Foden. We said Luke Shaw. Levy Colwell. This is who I was thinking of, which kind of surprised me.
He's only played like 90 or like 120 minutes of Prem football this year because he was injured mostly. If he wasn't as injured, he would be on this team for sure.
It's just wild because you have to be healthy for like 6 games. You know what I mean? It's like, and I get what you're saying, but I think part of this, like, yes, of course, if you're picking between like player A or player B, it should come down to who had the better season. But like the center backs for England, they don't really have depth. Like everyone expected to be probably Mark Gahey with Harry Maguire next to him, or maybe Konsa, if you want to make an argument for Konsa. But now going into it's going to be Harry Maguire. Excuse me. It's going to be Mark Gahey, Ezra Konsa, Jarrell. How do you say his name? Quensa?
Jarrell
Quansa. So they have Konsa and Quant. This is good podcasting.
Can I help you out here?
Yes.
So based off what we know right now, the three
Thank you.
goalkeepers are probably going to, or most likely going to be Pickford, Dean Henderson, James Trafford. Right backs will be Reece James, Tino Livramento. Fine. Left back, definitely Nico O'Reilly, but with Lewis Hall out, it's a possibility that you could see a Lewis Skelly or a Spence, or maybe they just don't take a fullback and put Dan Burn as their backup left back.
That's so bad.
Center backs are Konsa, Gahey, Dan Burn, and
I can't
Jarrell
believe Dan Burn is
Quansah.
in this team, bro. That guy's so bad.
Yeah.
That brother
The center mids that have been confirmed are Kobe Mainu, Elliot Anderson, Declan Rice, and Jordan Henderson. The attacking midfielders that have been confirmed, Morgan Rogers, Eberechi Eze, and Jude Bellingham. Left wingers confirmed, Marcus Rashford, Anthony Gordon. Right wingers confirmed, Bukayo Saka, Noni Madueke. And then the three strikers confirmed are Harry Kane, Ivan Toney, and Ollie Watkins. So basically, we don't know the identity of like one or two spots.
Right.
And the rumor going around is James Gardner will come in.
I think he deserves it. I think he's had a really good year.
Yeah. And then like a Lewis Skelly or Spence wouldn't. But then that leaves you with just Nico O'Reilly and Dan Burn at left back. So my thinking is, when I first saw this news, I was like, it's crazy how many good players are getting left out. But as I've had more time to sit on it, I actually think this team has kind of good balance to it. The only thing that I would be more like, the only thing that I'm wondering is I need to see if James Garner makes it. Because if you go into a World Cup and your four center mids are Kobe Mainu, Elliot Anderson, Declan Rice, and Jordan Henderson, bad.
Yeah.
If you add James Garner to that, and then you're there and you're like, Henderson's the 26th man, he's not going to play a single minute, but he will be there from a leadership perspective and helping the boys on in training. Another coach basically within the players, fine, right?
Yep.
But I think that like Harry Maguire not making it is actually like, what that signals to me at first, I was like, that's crazy because he plays so well for England. But also, all Southgate did was play with a back three where he performs his best. If Tuchel wants to play in a back four, you're not going to see the best of Harry Maguire, I feel like.
Yeah, I think the initial shock is just there was probably some players who thought they had a good year. Like, for instance, like Lewis Hall probably was like, I had a great year. I should be on the plane, right? And so when you don't see it, it almost is like what do I got to do? You know?
Yeah.
And obviously sometimes like Alejandro Balde, who plays decently for Barcelona, right? He's not had the best season, but even when he's in good form, he doesn't get picked for Spain because De La Fuente doesn't really like him. So you just feel for him because you're like, what is he supposed to do? Like, you know what I mean? He's just not a fit. I've put together, and no one would hate this. Go on.
Real quick, just to finish my point, I do think it is a good like depth team because like Madueke is basically what he's going to be doing for England is what he does for Arsenal, where it's like, if you need Saka to take a break, he's super direct and can cut in, perfect for the left. Rashford and Gordon are basically the same player where it's just speed off that left-hand side. And then up top, it's like Ivan Toney won't play unless there's penalties. Like the only reason he's there is for penalties, which is fine. Like you need like a specialist sometimes in some of these teams where it's like, listen, we know as England, penalty kicks are not our strong suit, like throughout history. Let's keep the guy who's the best penalty taker in our country on the team. Let's put him on the plane. But I agree with the Lewis Hall thing because Lewis Hall was one of those guys that everybody had penciled in to make the squad. And to not see him make it, it kind of sucks for him. Like you could even make a case Adam Wharton hasn't had the best of years, but you still would want to take him even as a fifth midfielder compared to Jordan Henderson. But on the flip, you can understand like, hey, let's keep a strong leadership for if we go through some bad moments, we know we have these guys here to help bring the squad up.
Yeah, I guess my knock on the leadership aspect of Henderson is you still have Kane in the team, you still have Pickford in the team, you still have Rashford in the team. Like you have enough players here, you have Declan Rice in the team, like who have been here. So it's kind of also isn't like a super young team, so that's where it's a little like is Henderson? I don't know.
You have what? Pickford's a captain of his club. Reece James a captain of his club.
Saka's captain of his, right?
Saka, Rice, kind of. Kane, like you mentioned. A guy like Jude Bellingham already has over 50 caps at 22 years old.
Right.
Like you have a lot of Rashford has so many caps. You do have a lot of leaders within this club. So I agree. Like the leadership aspect that they're going for, maybe with that Henderson pick, is an interesting one to say the least. Like I said, if I was the manager, and most likely we'll just get to this on Tuesday when we pick our starting 11, I personally would not have Henderson on that plane.
Me neither.
I wouldn't have John Stones on that plane because he's played not enough games. So there are some picks where I'm like, ooh, I don't agree with that at all.
I just can't imagine, like, again, being a young player like Lewis Hall, or like, honestly, you know what I can't imagine? I can't imagine being Harry Kane. And here's the thing is, right, you're captain of your national team. You're coming off probably the best season of your career, right? Like in good form. Like this is your final World Cup in the sense, like maybe you'll play the next one, but this is your final one where you're in your prime and you can really win it. And like, I'd have to have a conversation like Gaffer. Like, I know you're going to probably start Nico O'Reilly at left back the whole time, no problem. But like, we didn't have a spot for Lewis Hall. We didn't, and I'm not trying to make a big deal about Lewis Hall, but my point is like some of these names where you're probably looking around, and you're like, there wasn't a spot for Adam Warren over Henderson, and like
I will say this for England. The main thing that I will like about this team is the continuity amongst that front six, where for the most part they've played together now. This would be their third major tournament, maybe fourth major tournament together. Like that front three of Rashford, Kane, Saka have played the last Euro and World Cup together.
Yeah, 100, and they're all in good form.
Exactly, and behind them you're going to have a Bellingham in his third World Cup starting, most likely. A Rice, his third, or not
this
third
is Bellingham's
World Cup, third major tournament. Major tournament. Rice, third major tournament behind him. Manu, second one behind them. So it's like that front six will be so kind of like a well-oiled machine that I do think I don't think they're going to be as defensive as we've known them to be. But the defense is what would scare me, because besides their fullbacks, who I think are two world-class fullbacks, the center backs, besides Gahey, I like Konsa. I don't love Konsa. Jarell Quansah. I don't think he's great. John Stones is old. Dan Burn is no legs, zero pace.
I can't believe Dan Burn is in this team. Like, I know people, I'm sure Newcastle fans will say, no, he's a quality player. No, he's not. No, he's not. Like, he's not World Cup quality. If you told me he was the 26th man on this roster, that they needed one extra center back and they went with him, I'd say, okay. But, like, and I get what you're saying about, like, Maguire maybe doesn't play best in a back four. I'd rather Maguire be there than Dan Burn. I'll tell you that right now. And I'm sure that Harry Kane would and all his teammates would, even if he plays less minutes. Whatever. I'm also, like, arguing like I'm, like, annoyed. I don't care. You know what it is I do want to see Kane do well. And now that Rashford is very likely to become a full-time Barca player, like that's kind of my guy. Yeah, you got to root for your guys. But let's jump in then to our normal segment. Can I get a lineup? We're going to go with the team that we have the full lineup with. We're going to start with Germany. So Germany's released their full squad. Me and Pooch were talking about this prior. If we're talking any snubs here, Pooch, before we even get into it, I think the big one that it caught everyone's eye is just Ter Stegen's not part of the team again. He has not played well. He has been in bad form. What's crazy about Ter Stegen is I think Ter Stegen's 34-ish, in that range, 33, 34. Zero World Cup appearances. This will be his third World Cup he could have featured in. Zero World Cup appearances. Poor guy, it just catches form at the worst times and also has arguably the greatest goalkeeper of all time ahead of him.
Plus he's a rat.
So true. But let's get into the team. I'll list some of the names. At goalkeeper, Manuel Neuer has come out of retirement. They've called him out to start at the World Cup. Is this his fifth or is this his sixth?
He started when they won it in 2014, correct?
I think that was his first.
So
I don't think he was there in 20.
18, 22, 26, fourth.
Fourth. Okay, so not even fifth. All right, makes sense. Oliver Baumann will be, I presume, the backup with Alexander Nubel as the three. Pretty solid goalkeeper room, to be fair. Giving kind of Spain vibes, where you could probably make arguments for different guys, but Neuer will be the starter. I'm just going to list names. Nathaniel Brown is part of the squad. Antonio Rudiger, Jonathan Tah, Waldemar Anton, never heard of that dude in my life. David Raum, Nico Schlotterbeck, Malik Tau. I did not realize he was German. Pascal Gross, Leon Goretzka. I can't believe Goretzka made this team, by the way. This dude does nothing. There's a lot of Barca rumors and jokes because I guess he was a favorite of Hansi Flick when he was at Bayern. And it's like, Barca are aware Leon Goretzka exists as a human. They have no interest in him because he's a shit footballer, but they're aware he exists as a human being. Kimmich is part of the squad. And the Dem Amiri, I've never heard of him. Felix Nemeka from Dortmund. Angelo Stiller. He's
The
a quiet
schnoz
baller.
on that guy.
Poor dude has a birth defect, and Pooch is making fun of him.
He's
Florian
got a
Wirtz.
schnoz.
Florian Wirtz, Jamal Musiala, Alexander Pavlovic, Leonard Carl, Leroy Sané. I can't believe Sané made this team. Kai Havertz, Maximilian Baer, Jamie Lewing, I never heard of him, and then Nick Voltamade. Good squad. I think they have a good squad. If we're talking snubs, is there anybody that sticks out to you right off the top?
Not really. I think that this squad is kind of where Germany is at this point, where you're like, you could see them in a final 8, but winning it, no. Like I think semifinals is like a dream World Cup for them. Quarterfinals is probably the goal, where they're like, as long as we're one of the last 8. I think their starting 11 will be top class.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, I look at them and
Yep.
I'm like, I don't know.
I'm taking a quick look here. So one of the names that is supposedly, or two, I actually found another one, that are kind of snubs is Jan Bissek, the center back from Inter, who's a pretty good player.
I love Bissek, yeah.
Yeah. And then the player, Said El Mala, who I think is playing over, what is it? Is it Cologne? Yeah, Cologne. He's a winger. He's actually pretty talented. Under 21s. Apparently he'll be in the under 21 World Cup team, but this team is talented, top to bottom. Let's put together our lineup. Give me 1 second to get my FOB mob. What is it? Team builder. Alrighty. All right. So first things first here, Pooch, you know what we got to do? We got to put together our formation. What are we thinking here? What is Julian Nagelsmann been playing?
I don't know what he's been playing, but I think they're going to do a 4-2-3-1.
Sounds right?
Yeah. Like, this team screams 4-2-3-1. Like, let me look at their last friendly. Yeah, they did a 4-2-3-1.
Okay. I mean, let's do some easy ones. First off, Neuer in goal. No need to have a conversation there. The question I have here is Musiala and Wirtz. I assume they're both going to start.
I think we got to get to that later.
Okay, so that's not a dead set. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think the back 4 is where we should start because I think that's more of a dead set to me.
Okay,
let's do it. Schlotterbeck and Tah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Schlotterbeck and Tah are my 2 starters. Perfect. Schlotterbeck is the left center back. He's left-footed. And then Tah, I think at left back it's going to be Nathaniel Brown.
I agree.
Yeah, he's been very good. Where is he right now? Is he in the Bundesliga right now?
Frankfurt. He's at Frankfurt.
Yeah. Okay, Nathaniel Brown. And then right back. So this is something I'm interested to see. Is it Kimmich at right back or is it Kimmich as a 6? I think it's probably him at right back.
Yeah, I'm looking right now at their last few friendlies, and he's been playing right back for them.
I think you just have to because he had so much flexibility. Like, there's so much versatility then. So our back line, right, is Neuer, Nathaniel Brown, Schlotterbeck, Tah, Kimmich. I think that's a really, really good back 4. Solid, versatile, and on top of it, like, everyone's kind of in their prime, Brown being the young player in it. All right, let's look at these 2 6s, these 2 defensive midfielders. Yeah.
So one I think is a lock in because I love the way he plays. I think he's going to be one of the best 6s in the world within a year or 2, if not already.
Yep.
Pavlovic.
Yep. Perfect. I was about to do that myself. Okay. So that one's an easy one. Pablo. Yeah. I mean, he's been a baller. He's going to be really, really good. I think a lot more people are going to learn his name this year. And like people who only watch the Premier League, barely watch like Bundesliga or Americans or whatever, like are going to be like, that guy's amazing.
Yeah.
Now,
you're going to hate for what I'm about to say for this other position.
Okay.
Leon Goretzka.
I'll give you a chance to air it out. Yeah. Talk about it.
The last 3 friendlies he started.
Okay, but is this what you would start?
More than Pavlovic. Honestly, yes. I think
over and Mecca and over Stiller.
Stiller, I think, is more of a 6. So I think, if anything, he would be behind Pavlovic. I mean, I think there might be a case for Pascal Grob.
I'd rather take Goretzka. Remember, we're
Yeah.
playing, it's a 4-2-3-1, right? So you have kind of a double pivot here. So, I mean, you're really going to put Goretzka in here in the big 2026?
What's Nemechka? Maybe.
It's up to you.
I don't know.
I'll leave it up to you.
I'm just looking right now, and Nemechka's like kind of like he has so many shot attempts and goals compared to like everybody else in the midfield position, but his defensive contributions are so bad. So that's why I'm thinking like, is Pavlovic that good of a defensive midfielder that he can make up for two other midfielders going up? I don't believe so. Okay. That's why I think Goretzka should be the starter.
You know what? That's fine. And Stiller is kind of a similar mold as Pavlovic. So I think that they can rotate. All right. I can't believe you convinced me. Honestly, more than anything, I'm just doing it for our initial producer, Brett, who loves Leon Goretzka.
Yeah.
So we'll do that for Brett.
He is Leon Goretzka.
He is. Don't let him hear that. All right. Now,
well, he's also not German. So.
Yeah. That was always kind of a problem.
Fake German.
Very fake. You'd think he's German, but then you talk to him and he's actually English. Yeah. He was at Preston North End's first game ever. All right, looking at
he was there when they went back to back in 1889.
Big fan. All right, where are we going to put Musiala? Where are we going to play Vert?
See, this is another thing where I'm so conflicted because between those two and then Leonard Carl, in a perfect world, if this is FIFA, those three guys start easy.
Okay.
My issue is they all like to play inside and none of them like to just hug the wing.
Right. Like, you do need a
They
winger.
all like to cut in, and it's like that middle of the pitch would get so congested because I think Kai Havertz is just going to be the starter and he's a false nine anyway, basically. So it's like you have four guys occupying the same space on the pitch. I think I would probably put Musiala in the center of the pitch more than Verts. If you agree with that.
I totally agree with that. I fully agree with that. I mean, they have no wingers on this team, by the way.
So that was my recommendation, was going to be Verts on the left at this point.
Yep.
You may hate this, but Leroy Sané on the right.
I was going to say that's probably kind of now that I'm looking at the team, that's probably what they're going to have to do. Oh
like
my God, that's so ass.
They have so many. Like the only thing that I could think they do is maybe they do like a 5 in the back, 3 or 2 destroyers, and then 2 attacking mids and a striker. But then they have no width.
Honestly, no. But the other thing is they go 4-2-2-2. They go 2 strikers, 2 10s, 2 6s, right? And then like Brown is going to give you width though. Nathaniel Brown, he's going to bomb up and down the wings. What gets tricky is Kimmich is obviously not going to do that. Kimmich's going to get inverted. Yeah.
And that's why I think we should just stick 4-2-3-1 and 100%. Throw in Sané.
That's fine. I agree with that.
It's kind of a little scary. That's why I was saying like this team, their dream is going to be the quarterfinals because they have their attack is like so. Their starting 11 when you look at it, you're like, oh, that's a pretty good team, and then you get into the bench and you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I thought they were better. And then so you think it's going to be Havertz up top? It's probably going to be between Havertz and Voltemade. What do you think?
I think Havertz. Havertz, I think, is the better player. He's played in a Nagelsmann system before. I think he's had the better season. Like Voltemade has been demoted to the 10 at Newcastle for a decent portion of the second half.
Has he been demoted, or do they need him there? That's probably the better question.
I mean,
would you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, I know you're trying to say. My question back to you is, like it's tennis, is would you rather have Joe Linton in the 10 and Voltemade at the striker position? Or would you rather have Voltemade at the 10 and Johan Wissa at the 9?
No, obviously I would do that. But that's not demoting Voltemade.
I don't think he's been that good the second half of the year.
I agree, but you're saying demoted like he's like, you're not good enough to play the 9.
Yeah,
you're gonna be our number one creator now. We're gonna put you in like one of the most, arguably almost a more important position. I have no problem with you saying he's not playing well. My issue is just the way you're wording it.
Yes.
I've never heard of someone being demoted to the 10.
He's had 2 goals since February the 14th.
Right.
He's been
Regardless,
demoted.
I
He's
was
been
gonna
demoted.
put Havertz in the striker for you. I agree with you. I feel like every time I watch Germany, he's starting. Yeah, this team is actually easier to put together than I thought it was going to be. My only maybe guy that I think doesn't actually start here is maybe Goretzka. I think that could be in Mecca, or it could be Stiller, but I think we kind of smashed it.
I mean, yeah, I do think Germany is going to rely heavily on their defense this tournament.
I think this is just one of those German teams that if everything clicks, they could be dangerous, but they may also get into games where they could play a team like Morocco, who's maybe a little bit more balanced. Or I'm not saying that they are. I'm just saying like a country that has a little bit more balance to it, and they could have issues because everybody in their attack wants to play make and no one wants to score.
Exactly.
Right? Or Havertz only gets 2 opportunities, and that's usually not really enough for him, I feel like.
Nope.
Right.
You're right. Not enough.
That being said, let me rip through this lineup again. So we have Neuer as our goalkeeper, left back Nathaniel Brown, Schlotterbeck as our left center back, Ta as our right center back, and then Kimmich as our right back. In the 2-6s, you have Pavlovic and Goretzka. And then our kind of like front 3 essentially is Florian Wirtz at left mid, Musiala at cam, Sane as our right mid, and then Havertz as our 9. That's how me and Pooch would line up Germany. We don't know if that's how they will line up Germany, but I think we may have got this pretty close. You ever notice that Europeans, when it's translated to English, they always say they have good sensations? Like people that speak different languages. It's a Spanish thing for sure.
No.
When they want to say like, oh, I feel good about something, they use the word sensations. It's like, I guess the word that translates like the closest. So it'll be like, he said he had good sensations about the game. And you're like, what the fuck does that mean? You realize, he's trying to say he felt good about the game. So this team is making me feel good sensations. Let's move over. Our second team, there was a couple of options, but we decided to keep it with another pretty high profile team, I would say. We were going with the Belgium squad. A Belgian squad that I feel like this might be maybe a down year. What do you think here, Pooch?
Yeah, I think they're in this weird area where all their golden generation is it's dimming. They are like that supernova star where it's about to burst. Their best players, their best years are behind them, and then they have this kind of group of players where behind them where it's like they're good players, they're good squad players, they're not stars, and then the young players are just not there yet. So I think the next 8 to 12 years might be difficult for Belgium, including this year. Once again, this is a team to me that screams quarterfinals is a dream. Round of 16 is what we should be aiming for.
Yeah, I agree with this fully. I mean, looking at the team again, this is a team that could go deep, but it just feels like they lack a little bit of firepower. And not so much goals, but like just the stars aren't the level that they need to be.
Let's just admit it. Their defense is ass.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now as we're talking.
Their defense is ass.
And what's funny is they have a couple of young players here that, like, for instance, like, and I'll rip through the team. So first off, in net, you have Thibaut Courtois, Sene Lamens, the Man United goalkeeper, and then Mike Pender. So you have 3 very good goalkeeping options in this. I mean, we don't know so much about Penders, but funny enough, dude, their goalkeepers are 6'7", 6'4", and 6'7". 6'7"? Some big dudes. Defenders, Thomas Meunier, Brandon Metchelay, never heard of him, Timothy Castagne, Maxime de Cooper or Kuiper from Brighton, Arta Teat, Coney de Winter, Zeno de Bast, Nathan Nagoy. I should have you doing this. Joaquin Says and Axel Witsel. Can't believe he's still playing soccer. The midfield options are Kevin De Bruyne, Yuri Tillemans, Hans Vankinen, Nicholas Raskin, Amadou Onana. And then their forwards, big Rom Lukaku is still here. Leandro Trossard, Dodi Luka Bakayo, Alexis Salemakers, Jeremy Doku, Charles de Kitele, Diego Moreta, Mateus Fernandez Pardo. How is that guy Belgian? Mateus Fernandez Pardo. That's a Spaniard. Or you have Diego Moreta. That's a Mexican.
I don't know, but I'm looking at Fernandez Pardo right now. He's played for the Belgian under 17s, 18s, 9s. So he's Belgian. Like,
wow. Okay.
I don't know how, but yeah.
All right, fair enough. I'm taking a look at their team. They play 4-2-3-1. Like that's like.
By the way, Diego Moreta played
Yeah.
for the Portuguese under 18s
Okay.
and 19s.
So he's
and 21s.
Portuguese.
Yeah. He was in Benfica's youth system and then moved to Chelsea's youth system. And now he's at Strasbourg. So
Okay. That makes sense then.
Yeah.
All right. So real quick, I'm just looking at their past games. They play a 4-2-3-1. That's what they're going to play. That's their formation. So that'll make it easy. Let's knock some easy ones out. First off, Courtois in net. I think it's
shout out to him too. Remember at last Euros, I don't think he played because him and the manager, the old manager, got into like a verbal altercation, and he said, "Fine, I just won't play for the national team," and basically got that manager fired, and now he's back.
I kind of forgot about all that, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, he's a bad person, but shout out Courtois. So he'll be the easy starter at this. He's their Neuer, obviously. Looking at this back line, so some things I would do. Again, this is our team. At left back, I'd probably start De Kuiper.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been playing for Brighton.
He's very good.
Yeah, I was going to say, he seems like a young player that could probably do some stuff for him. I think that this back line's going to be easy, honestly. At center back, I'd play.
Did we go over who didn't make the team? Because I'm seeing two massive names that didn't make it.
We did not. Why don't you tell us?
Luis Openda did not make this team.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, Mika Goitz, the Ajax 20-year-old
so that was the big one.
that everybody's like raving about. 31 goal contributions this year.
He did not make the team.
No. Trying to look if there's any others. I don't think there is, but those two were like pretty massive ones.
The Mika Goitz
no
was the really big one that I saw. A lot of Belgians couldn't believe that. And I mean, looking at this team, give me 1 second. I mean, off the left side, because he plays off the left side, right? You have Jeremy Doku, Luka Bacchio. Is he off the left or off the right? I mean, regardless, you have Trossard off the left, who I think plays more like a striker for them. We'll get into that. I just can't believe it. Like, I don't recognize some of these names, and that's maybe all my own ball knowledge. But like Mika Goetz, I felt like should have been in this team. Again, managers have different reasons. We'll never know. But that is definitely a big one. And then what was the other big one you said?
Luis Openda.
Yeah, that's another one. But you know what? I kind of get that. He's kind of ass. Like, he's like a pace merchant.
But when you look at I mean, I guess like looking at his stats this year, he's played 34 games for Juventus, and he has 2 goals, 0 assists. So I understand it, but still, I feel like you want as much kind of top end talent per se as you can get.
Yeah, I mean, although I'm with you there, I also understand them being like, again, if we have to pick between two players, if someone's in better form, like you just got to go with it.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying. I think the tricky part is that forward, there's not really a lack of talent. And that's probably the issue. Is it's not like, well, fuck it, we just have to throw him there. Like, I'd rather take Big Rom, like Romelu Lukaku. What is his stats?
He's hurt right now.
Was he? Well, he's probably one of those like leadership guys.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's only in 2025, 2026, he's only played 5 games for Napoli. He has 1 goal. Yikes. Anyway, looking at this team, going back to the back line, right? So we have Courtois now. At left back, we have De Kuiper, however the hell you say his name. My 2 center backs are pretty easy. I'm putting Arthur Theater.
Yep.
I don't know how to say his name.
Theater. I don't know.
Yeah.
Theater. Call him Theater.
I'm putting here him and Arthur. How do you spell his name? Yeah, Theater, I guess. And then I'm going to put Coney de Winter next to him.
Really? Not Zeno de Bast?
Should I know who that is?
Sporting.
Has he been good?
Yeah, he's been good this year. Not great. Okay, put de Winter.
Yeah, I know de Winter this year. I've heard his name a bunch as a player that's played really well for Milan. I have not watched him, but feels like a good combination of like young and old. And let me look at his stats. He is averaging right now. Well, he's worth 29 million, so that's not a lot. He's averaging close to a 7 rating. I don't know. I'm putting him. You can't argue with me on this one. And then at right back, not a lot of good options here. I'm probably going Thomas Munier.
Yeah, I was gonna say him.
I don't know what else to do there. Maybe you just play a back 3. Just avoid it.
I mean, you could put Timothy Castier there.
Castagne, but is he? Yeah. Is he left-footed?
No, he's right-footed.
Okay. Has he been good for Fulham? He's been ass. 19 matches started, 0 goals, 0 assists.
That's why I think Nunez. I mean, we're going to be going through this whole team, and it's like 2 cheeks of the same ass at every position, basically.
No, Munir's been good, dude. He's in Ligue 1. He has 3 goal contributions, a 21 star with a 7.11 rating. This guy's so good.
My nan can play in League 1. It's ran by that oil club PSG.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see if maybe there's a, like, who's Nathan Ngoy? Is this guy good? He must.
Decent, actually.
But what position is he a center back?
Center back.
Yeah.
Center back.
All right. Never mind then. I was just trying to see because, like, again, I don't recognize. It's funny. I was talking to a family friend and they were like, I don't understand how you know so many of these players. Like, you just, like, not, oh, I can read their name, but, like, know them. There are players we don't know.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I don't know Zeno DeBast. Sorry.
If my ball knowledge basically comes, so like an example would be driving back for 4 hours on the bachelor trip this past week.
Mm-hmm.
I spent an hour while others were sleeping in the car just on FOTMob looking at different leagues and different players and like stuff like that. Like just bored out of my mind being like, let's see what the Belgian league, how that went this year. And then you like get on Genk and then you're like, oh, next thing you know, you're looking at the Belgian under 21 league and you're like, who are the next up and coming Belgian players?
Right.
So that's basically where I'm sure Ethan would agree is where our ball knowledge comes from in those bored moments when other people are doing productive stuff like reading, writing their books, looking up videos on how the world works, economics. We're just on FOTMob, like reviewing random players.
Pooch is better than me. I'm on SoFIFA. I'm looking at potentials, and then if they have good potential, I am then watching them on YouTube. Another player who, as I'm just looking at this, I'm just looking at names in the background as he was talking. Joaquin Sayes. I remember him when Barca played against him. He's a left back. He's had a decent year. 7 goal contributions, 2 goals, 5 assists, and 34 starter, which isn't crazy. But as a young left back, it's decent. So I think it still will be De Kuiper or whatever, however you say his name. But could be maybe one on each side. That being said, we obviously put Munir in. So our backline is going to be Courtois, De Kuiper, Arthur Theater, De Coney, and then Munir. The 2 6s, this for me is not hard. I think this is Tillemans and Onana, and you just call it a day.
Oh, na. Oh, na. Oh, no. It's the remix.
Makes it nice and easy. So Amadou Onana and Yuri Tillemans. I used to love Yuri Tillemans, man. Growing up, this was like my favorite wonder kid. I signed him in an Aston Villa career mode, and then he signed in real life, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm not playing Axel Witsel, unfortunately for him, and I've never heard of Hans Vanaken or Nicholas Raskin. Honestly, if you ask me who Nicholas Raskin is, I'd tell you he's an F1 driver. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's a very F1 driver name.
Right.
Plays for Rangers, and I'm just looking that up right now. He's actually had a decent year for Rangers, but I agree. It's like those two are the best 2 center mids that they have.
100%. All right. So now we put De Bruyne in the 10. That was an easy one. Now we have left mid, right mid, and striker. Where do we want to attack first? I mean, Doku's going to get in the squad. Where are we putting Doku is the question.
Left mid.
You're putting him just straight in at left mid. Nope, no problem with that. I'm just all right. I kind of agree with that. Play him in his best position. I was looking here at Belgium's fixtures, their past couple. Let's not look at Liechtenstein. That's probably not a good rep. For against Mexico when they drew 1-1. Okay, so funny enough, Goetz was in the team. Doku was not. Yikes. Luca Bacchio, whatever, played on the right. I'm just curious to see. Salamaker's off the right, Doku off the left. Okay. I'm good with that. Now, taking a look at the right mid spot, this is probably one of the big contention spots. So the options you have here for this position are Luca Bacchio, Salamakers. If you want to say De Ketelaere, however the hell, Charles De Ketelaere.
Yeah, Charles.
But is he a right mid or is he more like a 10?
No, he's more of a striker, I think.
Right. Well, I know he was a striker and then he started to become more of like a cam, right? I don't know.
Yeah, he's one of those weird ones where it's like he was supposed to kind of blow up for what he was, and then he just never did.
100%.
So I think teams have been trying him in different places. But I don't know. For that right mid spot,
probably just Luca Bacchio, right? He's a right winger. He probably or Salamakers, but I don't know who's
Salamakers. I also don't know if they're gonna just say F it Trossard on the right. Like they could also just do that. Like I honestly think you probably want your best players on the field, and if it means putting Trossard on the right, you might have to just do that.
I was going to start Trossard through. Wait, there's a couple of names here that they did not call up that are blowing my mind. They didn't call up Romeo Lavia. They didn't call up Malik Fofana. They didn't call up Arthur Vermeeren or whatever.
Yeah.
He's a good player. Is Joey Vermeeren? No, I think he's Dutch. He's a Belgian. Oh my God, there's some names here that they didn't call up that I would have put on the plan.
They called a very heavy Belgian league team.
Yeah.
Like, it's very heavy and like, this is our nation and here are our clubs type of team.
Wow. No Malik Fofana is crazy. Oh. Okay, never mind. He I think Fofana's hurt.
I mean, Lukaku's hurt and they called him up. Like,
no, I think Fofana's like out of the tournament though, hurt. Which would make sense. But okay, looking again. I was honestly personally going to start Trossard at striker.
Really? Okay, I mean, I'm okay with that. It just feels like they historically want like a target man type of guy.
Right. I guess my fear is Tuchel hasn't really played that way. He's played more as a 10 or false 9. So I'd rather just put Trossard up there and give someone for De Bruyne to hit poles and you know what I mean to play into. And then at right wing, I personally would probably put Luca Bacchio. He's just a natural right winger. And because I feel like you have a lot of playmaking in this team. So Luca, how the fuck do you spell Luca? I don't even have to type it in here, but I do it anyway. No one's watching this part. All right, so this is our team. At goalkeeper, we have Courtois. At left back, we have De Kuiper. At left center back, we have Arthur Teat. At right center back, we have De Winter. At right back, we have Mounier. Our two sixes are Yori Tillemans and Amadou Onana. At right mid, we have Dodi Luca Bacchio. At cam, we have Kevin De Bruyne. At left mid, we have Jeremy Doku. And then at striker, we have Trossard. On paper, it's a decent squad. I think they can actually do some damage. But it's like when it's time to make a sub, that's where it's going to get a little frightening.
Yeah.
That's where I think they're going to fall apart. Not to mention,
it feels very much like that German national team where both teams, starting 11, if this was a video game, no turn injuries off, these teams could compete for the potential to play in the World Cup final. But with the benches, one injury and you're cooked. Like,
yeah, 100%. But that's Belgium for you. They obviously kind of squandered their golden years a couple of years back. Back when it was Eden Hazard. I mean, it was still De Bruyne. Back when Lukaku was running it. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago. Was it the last World Cup that they scored they had some crazy comeback, I think against Japan, right? Or South Korea? Or was that 2018?
Japan. Yeah.
It was 2018, not the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
insane.
2018.
Insane. Well, that was a fun one. Hopefully for our next episode next Tuesday, we will have the England squad so we can build our 11. I'm excited for that. And we're going to keep getting them. It seems like Argentina are going to go down to the wire, which is frightening a lot of fans that maybe Messi's not part of the team, that he's making the decision.
Good decision.
He's definitely going to be part of the team. I don't know why people are acting like he's not. But with that being said, let's move into, I think, a relatively quick recap. Not too many games this week. We will start in the Premier League. Chelsea beat Spurs 2-1. The relegation battle will go on to the final day. I didn't watch this game. I was working.
Yeah, I think you just got to be nervous.
Not worried about anything. We're going to take care of business.
Not worried about bottling it?
Nope. Not worried about that at all. I will say, I don't think I've ever seen a club who gets so, like, Barca fans will like say like the refs suck. No one can talk about how bad refs are unless you're a Tottenham fan. Jed Spence got elbowed in the face by Liam Delap, broke his jaw, and there was no video replay. Anyone, if that happened to Spurs, if I did that accidentally on the street to somebody, if I was walking by and bumped them, I'd probably get arrested. But because it was against Spurs, no call, no problem, game goes on.
You wouldn't get arrested unless you were wearing a Tottenham jersey.
That's true. Yeah, frustrating, but is what it is here. The boys will go on. And obviously, you know, this is, I guess, also part of the preview, which has to do with the relegation battle. Cuti Romero is back in Argentina. It is so clear he's being sold this summer, and I'm okay with it, honestly. I think for both parties, it's just better. We'll get a nice fee for him, and then he'll also, like, I think Cuti Romero is a very, very good center back. I just fear he's going to go to Real Madrid, which will suck because I don't want to hate him.
I can't wait until you see the light once he's off your team and realize how much of it just an asshole he is and not as good of a center back as you think he is because he's on your team.
I think he's very good. He's the starting center back of the Argentinian national team and a player that Messi has said is one of the best in the world. So respectfully, I'm going to take Messi's opinion.
Over mine, your co-host,
without a doubt.
a league winner,
Messi's not
someone
shameless.
who didn't bottle it.
Messi's not shameless, unlike somebody I know. City draw Bournemouth and Arsenal win the league.
Okay.
Do you have more to say?
I've prepared a statement.
This is gonna be the cringiest thing ever, bro. This is gonna be so bad. I'm gonna give you a second to save some of your aura, save some of you're good. Just do your thing. Actually, I can't save you.
Arsenal fans, you listen to me. If you're near a convenience store right now, any kind of 24-hour store, go into the store right now and put your hand in the cash register for no reason. Their money is your money as of now. Right now.
That was good. That was good. That was good. I love that video. What is it? What is it?
It's Funkmaster Flex on the interlude of Otis.
Put your hands at the cash register. All right,
that was like within 5 minutes of them winning the league, somebody put that out there, and I was like, I have to bring this up on the pod.
Obviously, most of the world is dreading it, but I did see a tweet. No, I'm telling you that's not true.
Loving it.
I did see a tweet. It's like everyone has that one Arsenal fan friend that deserves this, and I would say Pooch deserves this. So congratulations, Pooch. You've only had minor Arsenal brain this year, which I'll take, because some of the Arsenal brain shit I've seen out there has been horrific.
Yeah, I mean, my only thing is, I think the only reason I'm acting like this is because it feels just like a weight lifted off my shoulders. Like it's like year after year of not even the bottling stuff, but it's like growing up like the 8-2 to Bayern Munich, 8-2 Man United, where you have to go into school the next day, and it's like everybody's like, I have a few Man United friends in high school where they're just clowning you for losing 8-2. You had guys like, I grew up on like the Van Persies, the Nasri,
right?
The Fabregas, and then all three of those leave, and then you're like, well, and they go to rivals, and you're like, well, shit, and they're winning leagues,
right?
And then it's like you get into like the end times where it's like the Unai Emery years, the Wenger out years, and you're just like, this club has no direction, nothing. And like the bottling stuff is fine, like whatever. That compared to all the other stuff that came previous, I would rather be called a bottler finishing second every year than have all the previous stuff happen. But it's just like all of that bottled up into one, and like you finally win it and you just explode. Where you're just like so over the moon happy that like you've gone through all of that shit and now you're on the other side.
You've obviously seen a ton of championships between the Patriots. Obviously, Arsenal's finally won you something. The Blues won you something. The Cardinals won too.
Yep, 2 in my lifetime.
Where does this rank?
Premier League probably ranks, I would say, number 1 was 2006 Cardinals, because that was my first one.
Okay.
Number 2 would be 2019 Blues.
Okay.
3 would be Arsenal, and then 4 would be the Patriots win over the Seahawks.
Okay. And where would Champions League be for you?
Champions League would probably be number 1.
Yeah, Champions League.
In all honesty, Champions League would although nothing tops your first championship run. Like I'm sure you could say it. Like, do you remember parts of the 2007 Super Bowl run for the Giants or no?
Yes,
or
and
that
no.
game.
No, I remember this. Yeah, I remember the game for sure. I don't remember the season that well, but I remember the game really well.
Would that rank? That was probably your first one, right?
Yeah. In regard to any of my teams,
yeah,
that's the first one I really remember. Yeah, Yankees hadn't won. Barca had won the Champions League, but like I didn't know shit at that point. Spain hadn't won anything. Yeah, that was my real first one. I remember that vividly.
And it's probably your favorite one because it's like also your first, where it's like,
yeah, as I think about it, of the championships my teams have won, it's tricky because the Giants won so close after that now I have more appreciation for it than I did then. Growing up, I just thought my teams win because they won, then the Yankees won in 2009, and then Spain went on a 3-tournament win run. Barca was winning anything. So by the age of 12, I was like, this is fucking awesome. I was like, my teams just win everything. I didn't start rooting for Spurs until like 2014, 2015. So, yeah, they obviously hadn't won anything, but I'm just trying to think like, that's a good question. What was my number one championship? It's probably one of the Giants, honestly. It's probably one of the Giants. And then
those
after
are
it's
like
probably like Barca Champions League.
And those are like your first. So that's my point is like, I don't know if the Champions League could top 06
It has to.
because it was the first one, but it would have to be like in the moment, I would say yes. But then looking back like 10 years after, it may just be like the second one. And like the Cardinals 06 was the first. I don't know. It's a good question.
I gained a lot of appreciation for my championships after mine. For my team's championships, like recently, because from like, I don't know, 2016 to 20 now, my teams were like kind of shit. Like the Giants were fucking horrible, where I was like, oh my God, I may have watched our only last 2 Super Bowls. The Knicks, I'm watching them right now. The Knicks championship would be pretty good. I'm not the biggest Knicks fan in the world. I am a fan, but I'm not the biggest in the world. So like, as much as I have appreciation, there's like diehard Knicks fans that were with the team in like the worst of years. Rangers one would be pretty cool because I get pretty into the Rangers. But yeah, I mean, looking back, like, I think the Giants meant a lot. I think if Barca won the Champions League again, because that's something that like it's almost been close to 10 years that we've won it. Like, yeah. If we won again, like that would be a really big one because that's kind of been the one that's been escaping us recently. The Spain World Cup in 2010 meant a ton. That might be my favorite. The Spain 2010 World Cup might be my favorite, honestly, because that was like the first time I feel like I was really fully cognizant of like a tournament and following it and like really into it. Like prior to that, like I knew Barca won a lot, but I didn't really know what the Champions League was when I was 9. I just kind of knew they played tough teams and like they were good. 2010, I was like, oh, this is a tournament. If you win it, it's like World Cup and all the big deals. If they win this year, it would be my favorite, though. It would probably beat 2010. Spain.
Now I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Would you rather your team constantly like get close but lose in like a playoff type of situation or like a Champions League, like, oh, we lost quarterfinals, semifinals, and then finally get over the hump? Or would you rather them like, oh, they got really good this year and then they won it all?
It's a good question. It's a very good question.
In hindsight, I think I would rather them constantly lose because it does build it up where you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then kind of it just like bursts into like this so much joy and excitement.
You're saying what Arsenal typically does, or you're saying like what like Spurs did?
Just like teams in general. So like I was even thinking in that case, like the Blues, right?
Okay.
Like the Blues for like 5-6 seasons, they had this core group of guys and they would constantly get like semifinals, like quarterfinals, and then finally they got over those humps and they made.
So you're saying that's better.
Stanley Cup.
That's what you prefer.
Yes.
Okay.
Then
understood.
like the first year a team like makes the playoffs or makes the Champions League, they just go on an insane run and win it all.
Yeah, that's a good question. I've had it kind of both ways with my teams because the Giants have my entire life been a team that if they make the playoffs, other than like the last time we made the playoffs, we won the Super Bowl, or we don't make the playoffs. So it's kind of nice that way, where it's like kind of in a playoff situation because like you could still have a decent season, but it's like, well, I'm not in, I'm out, whatever. Yeah, I mean with Barca, what's tricky, and I guess what's tricky with soccer is like there's other championships to be won. So like for us, like Barca fans, like it's like winning the Champions League is the big one right now. But like we could still win La Liga and win all the other cups in Spain. So it's like, oh, it's still a good season. I think it's American sports that make it trickier because there's one thing you want to win. Like you're not watching it and you're like, for instance, the Knicks, like I think they won the play-in, or not the play-in, the mid-season tournament. Obviously no one cares about that. We're not paying attention to that. But like if you win like 60 games, 70 games, and then don't win the chip in the playoffs, I'm not like, well, it was still a great season. It's kind of like, what the fuck? I'd rather my team be relevant. I really would. It's so hard. Like being a Giants fan, it has been so difficult to just like root for like a mediocre, horrible franchise, and just like there's also levels to it. Right?
It would be like next year the Giants win the Super Bowl, but then you're like I don't know what happens after that, or it could be like the Giants make the playoffs and like get to the NFC Championship game, get to the second round year after year, and then finally they get over that hump.
It's tricky. You're asking like, would you rather be the Giants and like win the Super Bowl but barely make the playoffs, or would you rather be the Bills and never win, but like the past couple of years you're like always in?
In this theory, the Bills win. Like in this hypothetical, the Bills when, for example, next year.
It definitely builds
or-
it up. It makes it a story. It makes it a plot. Whereas if
Yeah.
you just get in, it's more of like the underdog that made it. Like the Giants' story is about them winning the wild card, right? They got in as wild cards and they win like out in this. It almost is like the underdog, which is a great story. But there is something awesome about like, yes, this is the project that won. You know, like for Barca, it feels like, all right, if you sign a left center back, you sign a left wing, and you sign another striker, like that'll be like the final pieces to like winning the Champions League. If you win, it'll be like, yes, the story's completed. But then you get into this tricky spot where, well, now the arc is done. Like, can we be a dynasty? And if you're not, then you're like, ooh, I don't know. It's interesting. It's a very good question.
Thank you. Real quick, just two
Yeah.
quick anecdotes just to wrap it up on the Arsenal championship, because I don't want it to be too Arsenal heavy. Even though I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm trying to respect you and our listeners.
Good guy.
First, did you see Eze, Rice, Saka, and Timber just walking around the Emirates at 5 a.m. the next day?
I didn't see that. I've been very
You didn't?
antisocial.
Oh.
No.
No. It's not like a dig at it. I was just gonna say, like, it was very funny just waking up in the morning and seeing all these videos of just random people that were like kind of just still around at 5 a.m. outside the Emirates, and it's just those four walking from the club to the Emirates and just walking around the Emirates. And like one guy even went like TikTok live and was just like, "I'm with the Mandem." Very funny. And then the other quick anecdote was the whole team went out to the club afterwards.
Okay.
And in very little has been shown video wise of them at the club. The only things we've gotten so far is a few pictures, a 5-second video of Noni Madueke rapping, and a photo of in that club 16-year-old Max Baumann and Marley Salmon, who both were in the club there with the team.
Who's Marley Salmon? Is that a player?
He's like an up and coming prospect for us who's 16, but he's made a couple of appearances this year. But just very funny to see like all of these guys with like wives and kids at home just being like, oh my God, I can't believe we did it. And then these two kids who apparently Max Baumann had to go to school the next day.
He had an exam. I saw that.
Yeah, I was telling, because I'm home this week. I was telling my mom yesterday. I was like, imagine like one of us just won the Premier League and we get back home and we're like, hey, everybody's going to the club. Can I go? Like as a parent, you have to kind of be like, yeah, you're gonna have to miss school tomorrow. Like you just won the Premier League. So those are the only two kind of quick Arsenal anecdotes I had.
There you go. That is, as somebody that has watched his team win a lot in soccer, that is the best thing. Like seeing the Barca players after they win La Liga, like in the streets with the fans, like Marc Casado and Alejandro Balde, like it is the best. You just get these videos, or like for instance, when Spurs won Europa League last year, like seeing Cuti Romero just like piss drunk in the club, you're like, this is fucking awesome. Like, go on. Well, there you go. Enjoy it. Enjoy all those videos. It's one of those things that it is part of the fun.
I've been joy maxing the last few days.
That I think translates to jerking off. All right, real quick, Europa League final. Aston Villa smashes Freiburg 3-0. We predicted this. We know ball. We were pretty good on this one. I did not watch this game. Congrats to Aston Villa. All right, let's move into a quick preview. So we have the final day coming up for pretty much every league. So we have the Premier League final day, La Liga final day, Serie A final day are kind of the big ones. Let's jump in the Premier League. So the real thing to watch here at this point is obviously the league is wrapped and most of the European spots are kind of taken, is a relegation battle. So for those who have been living under a rock, it is Spurs versus West Ham at this point for the final relegation spot. Spurs will be taking on Everton. West Ham will be taking on Leeds. Spurs essentially just need a draw. A draw gets Spurs through. A loss does not. They could lose if West Ham lose or draw. That's okay. But essentially, if West Ham win and Spurs lose, Spurs are going down. West Ham are staying up. Or if both teams win, if Spurs draw and West Ham win, if West Ham scores like 15 goals, they'll stay in the Prem. Yeah, I mean, as a Spurs fan, you didn't want it to come to this, but honestly, I'm kind of just at peace with the situation. It's almost like let's just get this over with. It's been strung out now for weeks and weeks and weeks where you're just like,
bottle it. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just like, all right, like just play the game, get this over with. Especially, I'm starting to get into World Cup mode. We're obviously talking about World Cup, so I kind of stopped caring about the leagues. Like Barca's league is done. Obviously, the Premier, like I think every league is settled. Yeah, there's no leagues that anything's being played for anymore of the big five.
I mean, besides what we talk about right now.
Right. But that's my point. Like the actual
Yeah.
championships, where I'm like, all right, like let's just get to the World Cup because now I'm excited about that. I think Spurs are going to get a result against Everton. I also don't think West Ham are going to get a result against Leeds.
I think West Ham will beat Leeds.
Interesting.
And then I think Tottenham will draw Everton.
Okay.
I think Tottenham will go up decently early. West Ham will then kind of coast to like a 2-0, 3-0 over Leeds throughout the course of the 90 minutes. And then Everton will score like a goal in like the 70-something minute and really pucker up your guys' assholes for the remaining 20.
Well, I'll be down in Miami. This is one of the first final days that I've actually been able to sit and watch in like 5 years because of my various jobs. And this weekend I have off. So like I'm actually able to sit and watch the game. So I'm going to probably be running around Miami. We're looking for apartments and touring campuses and things like that. But like the fact that I don't have to be like working, I can actually like check my phone, check the score, like pop it up on my phone. I'm actually excited about that. And then let's just talk real quick, Premier League final Europe spots. So we have, I just put some of the matchups here. So you have Chelsea versus Sunderland, Brentford versus Liverpool, and Bournemouth versus Nottingham. So if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to pull up the Premier League table now. All right. If I'm not mistaken here, it looks like, so top four is essentially solidified. So no matter what, it's going to be Arsenal, City, Man United, Villa. So Villa could drop to fifth, but that's the furthest they could drop. So Liverpool can move up to 4.
No. Fifth. Sorry. I was.
Yeah, but Villa can only drop to fifth.
This stupid fifth. I have such a problem with the coefficient.
Yeah.
Stupid fifth place. Why is half the Premier League able to get into Europe? That's bullshit.
I agree with you.
And on top of that, you have a team like Crystal Palace who's going to get in Europe too. So you're going to have 9 European teams in Europe next year. Like, what are we doing here? Why is half the league playing in Europe?
It's funny because Palace are going to finish 15th or around there, right? Yeah. Depending. But
it's
looking
like Tottenham last year.
Yeah. But we actually got to the quarterfinals, which was pretty good. Chelsea versus Sunderland. So why is this relevant? So Chelsea are in the 8th spot right now. So Chelsea might miss out on Europe. Sunderland are in the 10th. So this is a game that Sunderland need to win. If they draw it, they'd be level on points, but goal differential is just horrific. Or they have to score 7 on Chelsea. 7 on Chelsea pushes it to something. But yeah, so Chelsea right now, I guess, are in the Conference League as it stands. So Sunderland could jump Chelsea, knock Chelsea out of Europe. Another one to look out for that I had here was Brentford versus Liverpool. So Brentford right now are 9th. So they're right on the cusp. They're on 52 points with a worse goal differential than Chelsea. So if they win, they can move not only into Europe, but they can move themselves. Sorry, they wouldn't just be in the Conference League. They can move themselves up into the Europa League. So definitely a game to look at. Liverpool's season's essentially done. I mean, Liverpool could fall out of Liverpool. If Liverpool lose and Bournemouth win, Liverpool could fall out of Champions League and fall into Europa League. So something to keep in mind there. And then you have Bournemouth and Nottingham. Again, just talking Bournemouth. Bournemouth do have a chance at Champions League here if they get a win and Liverpool drop points. Nottingham are obviously just in no man's land down there. Pooch, thoughts on these games? Anything to keep an eye on? Any predictions?
I think it's going to finish Liverpool in 5th, Bournemouth in 6th, Brighton in 7th, and sadly Chelsea in 8th. I think it's literally just going to stay put. Maybe not sadly Chelsea in 8th because it's very funny that they have this $1 billion project and they're going to be having to play Noah FC in the Conference League next year again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's sadly just going to stay put. There's not going to be too many
100%. All right. So let's move over to probably the most exciting final day in my eyes is La Liga. So La Liga is obviously settled. Barcelona are champions. The European race is essentially settled too. Getafe could fall out of the 7th spot, but it's really just it's a combination there. It's whether or not Rayo Vallecano and Valencia jump them. I guess Espanyol could jump them. Or Athletic Club could jump them too. But my point here is it's one spot they're competing for. Real Sociedad are actually in 10th, but they winning Copa del Rey are in the Europa League. There. Looking at the relegation battle. So you have Real Oviedo, who are already relegated on 29 points. There's no way they're getting out. Here is the rest of the table. In 19th, you have Mallorca on 39 points. They will be playing. Are they playing Girona? No, they're playing Oviedo. So you have Mallorca versus Oviedo. You have Girona versus Elche. Girona's in 18th on 40 points. Elche is in 17th with 42 points. You have Osasuna versus Getafe. That's relevant for two reasons. If Getafe drops points, you may see another team jump them for Europe. If Osasuna drops points, they could get relegated because, again, they're only on 42. And then the other big game I had here was Levante versus Betis. Levante's in 15th. Betis, obviously one of the better teams, are in 5th. We'll see what happens. Sevilla are still technically in danger of relegation. Sevilla will be taking on Celta Vigo, who Celta Vigo have already locked up a Champions League spot for next year, or excuse me, a European spot. They can't really go anywhere. No matter what they're in Europe next year, it's a matter of Conference League or Europa League. I think they'll probably still play, but it's going to be crazy. This is going to be one of those weekends and games where like one team scores and you're going to start seeing the table move like drastically. People are dropping 3 spots, 4 spots. My prediction, I think Girona beats Elche. I think Mallorca beats Oviedo. So that would move Mallorca up. So Elche get relegated. And then I think Levante. Who's Levante playing? I think Levante. I think Betis beat them. And then Levante.
What about Osasuna?
Osasuna's tricky.
Osasuna gets a point against Getafe. And Getafe is trying to fight for that.
Here's the thing
or that Europa League spot.
That's possible. That's very possible. I just think Osasuna is a better team than Levante. Osasuna has this player Victor Munoz, who's played at both.
Doesn't mean that they won't get relegated.
100%. But maybe this is what I want to happen. I'd rather Levante than Osasuna because they have decent players. But I
was gonna say I think I was agreeing with 2 of those. I think Elche and I think Elche go down, and then I also think Osasuna end up going down.
Okay.
I think it's going to be Osasuna, Elche, and Oviedo.
This is going to be nuts. I can't wait to watch it this weekend and just see the table move with it. They need to do like a goal zone for this weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's on ESPN. I wonder if they will. That'd be awesome. And then moving over. So Serie A, it's their final day, obviously. And we have a European race. So you have Milan right now, who I believe are in 3rd. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you have, let me just read the table. In 7th, you have Atalanta with 58 points. In 6th, you have Juventus with 68. In 5th, you have Como with 68. In 4th, you have Roma with 70. And then 3rd, you have Milan with 70. And then Napoli is safe. Napoli, no matter what, will be in Champions League next year. Yes, they will no matter what be in Champions League.
They're good.
In 2nd. So really the battle here is between Milan, Roma, Como, and Juventus for the Champions League spots. Taking a quick look. So Milan would be playing Cagliari, Roma versus Hellas Verona, Como versus Cremonese, and then Juventus versus Torino. Pooch, you're kind of my resident Serie A guy here. Why don't you talk us through this? What are your predictions?
I think Milan will definitely get the win against Cagliari. I think Roma will beat Hellas Verona because they're already relegated. I could see a draw with Como and Cremonese because Cremonese is still fighting for basically safety. Them and Lecce are a point between each other with 1 goal difference. So if they get a point and then Lecce, who are they playing? They're playing Genoa. If Genoa get 2 goals on them, they're going down. So
so there's something to be played for here is what you're saying.
Yeah. So I think Cremonese, I mean, they have Jamie Vardy too.
Wait, do they?
So that's
I did not
a
know
fun
that.
fact for people. Yeah, he's on Cremonese. He has 7 goals this year. 7 goals and 2 assists for them. Anyway, so I think a draw happens there, and then at that point it doesn't matter with Juve. I do think they'll beat Torino, but I think everybody above them will get points. Como, obviously, with a draw, they'll be stuck at 69, but it won't matter anyway because they're still going to be in Europa League. So once again, I don't think there will be much movement. Serie A last year with this European race, there was a lot of movement during the day, like during the time of the games, but it ended up just staying put. I think it's going to be the same this year, where there's going to be a moment where Milan is all the way down in sixth, and everybody's going to be like, oh, shoot, they're not even going to make it. And then they're just going to end the day in third. Same thing with Roma, where there'll be a point in the day where Roma are second, and then they're in sixth for like a hot second, and then they just end the day in fourth. So I think throughout these games, you're going to see a lot of movement between second and sixth place, but it will just end the same exact way it looks right now.
The way it started. I mean, I'm obviously going to take Como in Champions League. Hot take, I think Milan drops points. And I think Roma and Como both get in. Milan, I think Juventus also drop points because they make ass.
So the only reason I said Juventus win is because this is the most Juventus win ever, where it's
just
like
sneak in.
Well, not even sneak in. Like they just end the year in fifth place, and it's like, well, we won on the last day, but it's like, yeah, but you should have been the week before. Like you had, like all you needed to do is win your games out, and like you couldn't even beat Fiorentina, who's middling this year. Like not even middling, worse than middling. But
yep. All right. Well, I'll trust you there. I'm obviously going to take my Como boys. I know if Owen was here, Owen is driving cross country right now for whatever reason. Just for fun, I guess.
Weekend getaway.
Yeah, weekend getaway. He'd be taking Como with me. A couple other big games to keep an eye on. The Women's Champions League final. So you have Barcelona versus Lyonnais. I'm obviously going to take Barca.
Yeah, it could be Barca. Arsenal's women played Lyonnais in the semifinals. They lost, but I was not impressed with the Lyonnais team. I think Barcelona. I honestly think this might be this women's Barcelona team's last hurrah.
Oh, why is that?
Enlighten
me. I don't know enough.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot of their players are coming kind of to that age where it's like they're a little bit on the older side, and I feel like they don't have the what's the word I want to use? Like the youngsters waiting in the wings. Like their best players. It's like the Barcelona teams in for the men's, where it's like you have Iniesta, Xavi, Messi, but then there gets a point where they're like a little bit older, and you're like Alexia Putellas. Is that how you pronounce
she's
her
32.
name?
Yep.
Yeah,
Putellas,
32. Pina's good actually. I really respect Claudia Pina. I don't know. It just what's her name?
Bonmatís.
Vatel.
Who?
Yes.
Bonmatís is only 28.
She's only 28. Man, yeah. It could also be one of those things where I've just watched them play for about a decade, where you're just like, geez, they got to be like mid to late 30s. But you're right. Maybe I was wrong.
I guess the tricky
either way,
part,
I still think that they're winning.
I guess the tricky part with it, which I'm sure you probably agree, is like, yeah, they've just been doing this for so long. And I guess the tricky part is who's the competition. I know you said like Arsenal have a good team, Leon, but like, are they at that level? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, Arsenal beat them last year in the final.
Right.
But it was also like one of those games where it's like Barcelona was the better team, like through 90 minutes.
My point is
lucky.
Is there anybody else in the world who's like Barca like doesn't lose a game in La Liga? Like they kill everybody and then they play the Champions League. Like they don't really get serious until the semifinals, it feels like, or the finals, maybe the quarters. So that's my point. Like if you told me like other teams were catching up to them in ability, I'd be like, all right. But it feels like their biggest game of the year is just the Champions League final every year. You know?
I think right now the women's European game is at an interesting spot because there's about, I would say, 6 teams in the world that can really compete, and it's Madrid, Barcelona, Arsenal, Chelsea, PSG, Lyon, and then I would guess maybe a 7th because they just won the women's English League, Man City. But those 6 are basically the ones. And then even on top of that, I mean, I'm looking at the quarterfinals of Champions League. Barcelona over 2 legs beat Real Madrid 12-2.
Yeah,
so it's
they kill them. They kick their ass, bro. They kill them every year.
Well, but like even Arsenal already are bringing in like one of the best players on, I believe, Wolfsburg. She was
Wolfsburg have a good team.
Yeah. They're also bringing in the English player that plays on Bayern Munich. Georgia Stanway, who once again a little bit past her prime, I think, but still a really good center mid. So it's like some of these teams are kind of catching up to Barcelona in a way of kind of stockpiling some talent and not just being like relying on 3 people to beat that Barcelona team, but Barcelona has a chokehold on women's soccer for I think another year or two.
Hey, yo. Good stuff. I'll see if I could tune into this. I don't even know where to watch it. Alrighty. Moving on to. So in France, you have the Coupe de France final. Lens versus Nice. Nice is having a horrible season, but if they win this would be pretty big for them. And then for Lens, they were the real bottlers this year. Shit the bed against PSG. Is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if does France do it where if Nice win, they make Europe?
I have no idea, but 2 hours ago, OGC Nice's neo-Nazi ultra groups attacked a bar and random people in Canal Saint-Martin tonight. I am rooting for Lens. I'm rooting for Lens.
I mean, Nice is also the team where they got attacked on their own bus.
Yes.
So, Nice too, not only do they have this game, but then they also next week have to play Saint Etienne to stay in Ligue 1. So they have an interesting 3 games coming up. They could potentially, win the Coupe de France and then lose to Saint Etienne over 2 legs and be in Ligue 2. How do you say 2 in French?
Deux. Ligue 2. Not duo, right? What language is duo?
Maxime Lecroix.
Duo.
Teo Hernandez.
What would you call it? I'm trying to duo.
Manu Kone.
Dictionary. It's a Latin word. I guess that was an easy one.
Kunde.
Et je suis Chelly.
Benjamin Pavard.
Je suis Chelly. This also Nice's first trophy in 3 decades if they win. So that would be huge. Which, that's kind of crazy to think because I've always known Nice as a club. So whatever.
I mean, shout out Will Still for kind of getting the team to where it is.
Is he the manager? Oh, who is?
Pierre Sage.
But this isn't the club that he actually did decent at, right?
No. Well, Reims is
that was
club.
it. That was it.
And they're not even in the top flight anymore. So
I actually watched, he did like an interview, like a small, maybe it was the Overlap or one of those with Will Still. And it was pretty interesting because he was talking, but he was just very human. Like he didn't have manager talk. And he was like, it was like really annoying. Every time someone would ask me, all they asked me about was footy manager. He's like, I said it one time in an interview and then everyone just took it as like, I'm this like nerd that plays footy manager all the time. And it was like stuff like that.
I think he's so overrated.
No, I mean, he's not a great manager, but he even said it himself. He was like, I just took over the club and we did okay. You know what I mean? He was like, he wasn't like, I deserve a job. He was just saying, he was like, I did well and like it was a lot of pressure. And then like I got another job and it wasn't the right fit and it is what it is. But he was never. Right. That's what he said. He's like, it was just never the right fit and we lost some player, whatever. But it was like, it sounded very much like if you and I like just somehow fell into a job. And he was like, like I didn't really know a lot of what we were doing, but like we just kind of figured it out. It was a good interview. If you watch it, I feel like you watch it and be like, it's actually like, I'm rooting for this guy. German Cup final, Bayern versus VfB Stuttgart. I think Bayern are going to win, but give me Stuttgart.
Really? I think Bayern's just going to roll them.
Here's why. I feel like a lot of players for Bayern are going to be like, oh, I got the World Cup coming up. I got to make sure like, I'm Gucci. And I think Stuttgart are going to be fighting for their lives. They're going to be like, we need, like, this is our biggest thing.
Maybe. But I also think even the backups for Bayern are going to be better than
the
Dennis
starters.
Undav.
All right. Fair enough. Well, I don't got anything else really. Here. This is all we got. Hopefully a shorter episode. How long we go tonight? About an hour and a half. Not too bad. We'll cut some down.
No. My only thing before we end the episode, enjoy the weekend full of games. And if you have 15 minutes or 20 minutes and you want to kind of just chill out your brain this Memorial Day weekend, watch the World Cup reviews that we have on YouTube.
Yes.
1962 and 1966 are officially out.
Yes.
So you get It's Coming Home and Chilean earthquakes. So.
Wow. I'm going to tune into the Chilean earthquakes for sure. That sounds like a lot.
It was a lot. A lot of people died. A lot of people died.
It's not funny. Stop laughing.
I wasn't laughing.
I was. Well, that's it for us. As always, class is permanent. Form is temporary. We will see you guys after the Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy.
Work out.
Ay, ay.
Let it all work out. Champion is champion.